Hi everybody, my name is Jim and welcome back to a new episode of Make Do Mondays. So after Saturday's video, I was dropping some hints about today's video, but not really. I was leaving you in suspense because I was really excited to roll out this video. Now, there's really two parts to this video. The first one is the introduction of something, and then the second part is what I plan on perhaps doing with it. So, let me give you a little backstory. I have an obsession, an addiction, I think you would call it, and it's called Facebook Marketplace. Yes, I can spend several minutes wasting my life away scrolling through Marketplace, particularly at the antiques and collectibles section of of the Marketplace, and I'm always amazed at how many gorgeous things are out there. I'm also amazed at how sometimes expensive things can be, but that's neither here nor there. So I'm scrolling through, and I feasted my eyes on something that I've been really thinking about getting for a very long time, but again, always a little bit way too expensive for, my budget. And again, it's one of those things where, it was something that I was going to plan on doing for Make Do Monday, and I couldn't think about parting with a large sum of money for something that has to do with making do and mending. So, scroll through, and then it appeared. And I was super excited, not only because the price was right, but the age of the item was appropriate, and this certain thing just happened to be one town over. So I contacted the gentleman and I said, I'm really interested. Is this still for sale? And he said yes. And then he asked me if I was going to actually use it or scrap it, and I said I'm absolutely going to use it. I think it's wonderful. It's something I've been looking for a long time. And so thankfully this gentleman had the means of delivering it to me because it weighs about 1,000 pounds. I kid you not. So he delivered it and told me all sorts of wonderful stories about it. And now it's here. So without further ado, I say that all the time as I'm segueing. Without further ado, this item is in my garage, and let's go take a look at what we got. Welcome to the new summer kitchen. Yes, I am in my garage. And this is the work of art that I was building you up for. This is an early 1940s monogram coal gas range. Oh my goodness. Like I said, it weighs an absolute ton. So just to give you some perspective, whenever I'm shooting my videos, I always go out this door here into my garden. Okay, so I've always wanted to have some kind of a wood or coal powered stove out here. I think it's going to be really handy. This is really going to be like my summer kitchen. Now, I haven't really finished this corner yet, because I needed to do some painting and I wanted to bring some stuff out here, some cookware and whatnot, some of my cast iron. I do own a lot of cast iron, but I did fire her up and she runs a treat. Now, I did run a chimney up the back. Obviously, it needs to be vented. And then above here, it goes out. There was already a chimney through the roof because when my grandfather was living here, he had himself a little potbelly stove to keep him warm during the winter months when he would come out in here and work. So it was perfect. All I had to do was plumb it in. It was really, really easy. I had to, what's the word I'm looking for? I had to relocate, that's the word, relocate the damper, because the damper was not tall enough. It was kind of behind the stove. But yes, I've already fired her up. I started with wood. I've got a lot of wood. That's 3 cords of kiln-dried hardwood, firewood. So I fired up, sorry, the lighting's pretty bad here. Here we go. I fired her up with some wood first. It was a little smoky at first. There were some seams that were open, and I bought some cement, some fire cement to fill the seams so that, I need to get into better light here, sorry. So that I could close everything up so that it would properly draw. From there, I had the fire going. The stove was not really registering anything. Okay, you can see that there's a thermostat that's built in, which does work. The stove got up to maybe 200 degrees Fahrenheit. So then I decided that I bought some coal and I threw some coal inside and it did the trick. The oven got up to about 300 degrees. I didn't want to go absolutely crazy with that. So I was happy to see that the stove would actually work. Now, it is coal, wood, gas. I'm just going to show you down here. Okay, that's the firebox, and you can access it down here. I need to clean that out. Okay, then it comes with this contraption here. All right, so if you want to clean out some of the debris, you give it a shake, and all of it comes knocking down into the reservoir where it can be cleaned. The gas side is not functioning right now. I don't have it plumbed in, but it is complete. So if I ever wanted to get it plumbed in, perhaps I could. There is also the option of maybe doing propane, which I do have a lot of. But honestly, if I wanted to use gas, I can just go into the house and use my Bengal stove for that. But this whole side gets really, really hot. And then the oven will also work that way. So the oven is either gas or wood, depending on, which fuel you decide to use. But yes, this is going to be great, especially when it comes to processing my food. Honestly, I can have both the doors open in here, all 3 doors, the back door, the side door, and the garage door. And I can keep the heat outside. I don't have to worry about sweating my brains out inside the house whenever it's time for me to can food. And I've got plenty of room in here where I can set up tables and I could get a whole, assembly line going in here for my canned food. So I'm super excited. I can also do baking on top if I wanted to in like a Dutch oven, things like that, if I don't want to get the fire roaring as hot as it requires to have this stove actually come up to temperature. So I have lots and lots and lots of options. And then, not for nothing, just come out here in the middle of the winter, get a fire going, and sit out here. Maybe I'll put a rocking chair out here, sit out here, listen to music, maybe do some knitting. I mean, what's not to love? So, yes, I'm going to affectionately call this stove Gertrude. I already gave her a name. So, welcome, Gertrude. So, the stove can be and will be used for cooking, which will segue now into the last portion of this Make Do Mondays. I have to say, has been a learning curve for me. I'm sure most of us have always cooked with gas or electric stoves. So learning how these stoves function has been a bit of a learning process. And I have to tell you, I'm positively in love. People might think I'm absolutely nuts for saying that, but there's just something. It's like driving a standard shift car. Okay, if you know how to drive standard, you love it and you don't want to switch to anything automatic because you feel as though you have complete control over your vehicle. Well, that's how I feel about this stove. I really feel as though I have complete control over the stove. I can really balance the heat how I want it, etc., etc. So let's go back onto the patio and we're going to chat about the next portion. Isn't she gorgeous? That's enamel-coated cast iron. So the enamel cleaned up nicely. Some of the chrome is a little pitted and rusted. No biggie. It's an outdoor stove. It's still going to do the job. It might not look as pretty as the one that I have in the kitchen, but that's okay. Okay, I don't mind. It still functions. That's all that matters. And I paid a song for it. It was super cheap. So second portion of this video has to do with World War II recipes. And for this, I'm going to ask you for your input and help. Okay, now I'm going to be digging into this book that the lovely Robin sent to me earlier in the year. Thanks again, Robin. And I did a bit of a peruse through here, and I wanted to find some interesting recipes, okay, that I can share with you guys and actually go through and cook them and whatnot. So I've chosen 3, all right, and I would like you guys to tell me which one you think I should do first. So I will be doing all 3 of these recipes. I'm going to kind of take a poll, and whichever one gets the most votes will go first, and then the second one, etc. And then the one that didn't get any votes, or maybe just a few, will go last. But I will plan on doing them. They are very interesting recipes indeed. So the first one is on page 67, and this one is called Creole Cabbage. Creole sauce was a favorite during the early 1940s. It was used with everything from seafood to poultry to vegetables. This could easily be turned into a main dish with the addition of a little leftover ham. So for this recipe, I'm going to be needing some kind of cooking fat. So it says bacon fat or shortening. Onion, green bell pepper. It says 1 pint home canned or 1 15-ounce can of tomatoes. Well, I can use my own tomatoes for that, couldn't I? 1.5 teaspoons of brown sugar. It's going to need salt, 2 whole cloves. Okay, so the spice. 1 clove of garlic, 1 bay leaf, and 1 medium head or 2 pounds of green cabbage, coarsely grated. In a heavy skillet over medium heat, melt fat, add onion, pepper, saute until the onion is golden. Stir tomatoes, brown sugar, and salt into onion mixture. Bring to a boil over medium heat. Insert the cloves, spice, into the garlic cloves and add to tomato mixture along with the bay leaf. Simmer uncovered, stirring occasionally for 15 minutes. Then you have to cook the cabbage until it's tender. You drain it, and then you discard the garlic clove and bay leaf. I'm not really into discarding anything, but we'll see what I can do with those. Pour sauce over cabbage and toss to combine. So it sounds like a side dish. That's Creole cabbage. So that's the first one. It sounds quite good. I love cabbage. I love, love, love cabbage. And cabbage and tomatoes, even better. The next one I'm going to read from is on page 134, and this one is called California Chicken. It's in quotations. By 1943, canned tuna was hard to buy because the tuna fleets had gone to war. Nonetheless, producers never stopped telling homemakers in their magazine advertisements that they would soon be able to serve their families recipes like this one. Actually, this dish would be equally good with any cooked fish leftovers. So it calls for potatoes, carrots, green peas, vegetable shortening, onion, flour, salt, pepper, milk, 1 can of tuna packed in oil, and breadcrumbs. So you're essentially combining the potatoes, the carrots, and the peas. Okay, and let's see, and you cook in a saucepan. You bring to a boil, and then you cook until they're tender. Okay, you drain the vegetables, and you save some of the cooking liquid in the same saucepan. Melt the shortening over medium heat and saute onion until golden. Stir in the flour, so you're kind of making a roux. Okay, gradually stir in the milk and the reserved cooking liquid. Bring to a boil until the white sauce is thickened. You drain your tuna, keeping 1 tablespoon of the oil. Break it into flakes. Layer half the vegetables, half the white sauce, the tuna, the remaining vegetables, and remaining white sauce in a greased casserole dish. And then you're going to sprinkle breadcrumbs on the top. So it's definitely like a bake or a casserole. It sounds really, really good. And I have to say, I do love canned tuna fish. The last one is actually a dessert. This should be interesting. It's called carrot pie. Although there was no shortage of pumpkins, commercially canned pumpkin was rationed and was difficult to get because it was in demand by service commissaries. With the proper seasoning, fresh or home-canned carrots from the Victory Garden produced a delicious alternative for the duration. Now, I do not plan on having any garden fresh carrots because they've been nibbled. So I will probably have to purchase some and cook them myself. But it has carrots, brown sugar, milk, eggs, flour, cinnamon, vanilla extract, nutmeg, cloves, and then you make a pie crust. Now they have a recipe for a pie crust in here, but I have my own recipe, which I've had great success with and I will be doing. So you thoroughly combine the carrots, brown sugar, milk, eggs, flour, cinnamon, vanilla, nutmeg, salt, and cloves in a large bowl. Okay, the idea is that the cooked carrots will be like a puree. Transfer mixture into the pastry shell. Smooth top surface. Bake pie until it's set. 40 to 50 minutes. Chill for several hours before serving, and you can top with whipped cream if desired. So it's really like a Thanksgiving pumpkin pie, but made with carrots. That would be interesting. Okay, so those are the 3 recipes. Okay, so the first one is the Creole cabbage. The second one is the California chicken. And then the last one is the carrot pie. So I would love your input on those 3 items. Which one do you want me to make first? And I will do my level best to show those to you. I've only done 1 baking video, and that was the hot cross buns from way back when. It does take a little bit of time, so it might take me a few Mondays to get this up and running. And ideally, I would like to perhaps use Gertrude in the summer kitchen as my cooking means. So very exciting. And this is going to be a fun little avenue. I told you recipes were coming, and I would like to try a lot more in this book. And I have other pamphlets, of course, where I would, try some different recipes and things. So that's it, guys. That's the Make Do Monday for today. I hope you guys are well. I hope you enjoyed this. I feel really, really excited about it. Probably more excited than most people. But I'm really excited just to get using that wood cooker, that coal cooker. It's just such a cool piece of history, and it's now in my garage, in my little summer kitchen. So once again, leave your comments. Let me know what you think about those 3 recipes. Which one would you prefer me to do first, second, and third, and we'll go from there. So long, guys. I'll see you all really soon.